I'm going to show you how to play Mistweaver Monk in Season 4 of Dragonflight for both Raiding and Mythic Plus, and it's going to be digestible in a beginner-friendly format. We're going to start off looking at the stats. Now, above everything else, I always recommend in all of my videos that you try and strive for a higher and higher eye level. The secondary stats do of course matter to some extent, and this is the general priority of them from left to right. However, it's very important that you understand that actually no two people are the same, and you should always be simulating your gear if you are really invested in getting the perfect secondary stats. If you're not willing to do that, or you don't care, or you're a beginner and that's gone straight over your head, then eye level is always going to be king. And that's fine. Getting a higher and higher eye level is always generally going to be an improvement. For the talent trees, this on the left here is for Raiding, the one on the right is for Mythic Plus and AoE builds. I'm going to be going through both of them, but what I'm not going to do is go through every single individual talent or spell, because I don't want to overwhelm you. Let's have a look at those really important cooldowns and utilities, and then the actual rotation. Starting off with the cooldowns, we've got Revival on the top left, which is going to heal our allies and remove any nasty effects from them. On the right, we've got Invoke Yulon, the Jade Serpent, healing allies and making one of our core spells, Enveloping Mists, 50% cheaper to cast. Then we've got some more personal cooldowns. Top middle, Fortifying Brew, increases your current max health by 20%, but also reduces your damage taken by 20%. Then going down onto the bottom, we've got Diffuse Magic, reducing magic damage taken, and also mirroring some of that back to the caster. Lastly, Dampen Harm, simply reducing damage taken. We've also got some really interesting utilities at our disposal. Disable, reducing the target's movement speed by 50%. Ring of Peace, which is one of my favourites. It's a big ring of peace, and basically any enemies trying to enter that ring will be ejected and won't be able to enter. On the bottom we have Tiger's Lust, increasing allies' movement speed by 70%, and it's going to remove any movement impairing effects like roots and snares. And lastly, Detox, removing all magic, poison and disease effects on you or your allies. But how are we going to put it all together into an actual rotation and playstyle? We're going to start off now with the single target or raid rotation, and you may notice here that my UI may look very different to yours, or maybe it doesn't, I'm not sure. I'm not actually sat at your desk, but if it does and you're thinking, what the hell is going on here? Well, this is a custom UI I've built myself in an add-on called ElvUI. If you would like to get it, you can get that through my Patreon, and I can help you install it if needed through the VIP Patreon channel in the Discord. Another thing on my UI I would like to mention is this here. Not these huge bars up here, but this one here. This is a weak aura by Luxfoss. He does fantastic weak auras that help put all of your cooldowns and resources, like you can see here, my 2 green bars for my renewing mist charges, my mana, and all of my ability cooldowns all in one place, meaning that you're not looking all over the screen, and this is how it looks out of the box as well. If you need any help installing that, again, you can either join my Patreon and I'll help you, or you can join my Discord, where we have a really fantastic beginner-friendly group of people in the community who are always looking to help beginners. No question too big nor too small. So now we've got all that covered out of the way, what abilities do we actually have? So we've got a lot of different mists here. I actually kind of wish they had named a few of them a bit different, because for beginners, it's a tad overwhelming and you can get quite tongue-tied. So we've got Renewing Mists on a 9-second recharge, and we have 2 stacks of that, or 2 charges of it. Surrounding the target with Healing Mists, restoring health over 20 seconds. So it's instant, and then it's going to do a hot or heal over time on your target. This, of course, being me at the moment. If Renewing Mists heals a target past maximum health, it's actually going to travel to another injured ally within 20 yards. TLDR, try not to let it cap out at 2. Always have at least one of them recharging like it is now, otherwise it's kind of wasted. We then have Summon the Jade Serpent statue, and here's one I made earlier. So basically you can place the Jade Serpent statue wherever you like, and it's going to summon that statue at the target location, of course. When you channel Soothing Mist, so the first one was Renewing Mist, this is now about Soothing Mist. So when you cast Soothing Mist, statue is also going to cast it on that target. So Soothing Mist is this one here, this next spell. Heals the target over 7 seconds while channeling. So remember, Renewing Mist is an instant cast one that is a heal over time, and we have 2 charges. Soothing Mist, as you can see here, is a channeled spell, so we have to stand and actually channel it. And while channeling, here we go again, another mist, Enveloping Mist and Vivify may be cast instantly on the target. Each heal has a chance to cause a gust of mists on the target too. Soothing Mist, that's the one we're looking at, heals a second injured ally within 40 yards for 35% the amount healed. So, already I'm going to recap on what we've done because it's already getting confusing. We've got Renewing Mist, which we've spoken about. We've got the Summon Jade Serpent Statue. I don't know what I just said, but you know what I mean. And then we have Soothing Mist, another one that is channeled. And while channeling it, the statue is also going to channel it on that person. You can see I'm casting it on myself, and therefore the statue is also casting it on me. And while channeling Soothing Mist, remember, our Enveloping Mist and Vivify are instant cast. Vivify is the next spell. Causes a surge of invigorating mists, healing the target and all allies with your Renewing Mists active. So, usually, we have to cast it. As you can see here, sometimes it will be instant. Generally, we have to cast it. As you can see, it's taking me 1.3 seconds. When we're using Soothing Mist, so when we're channeling that, Vivify is always instant. See, I'm channeling Soothing Mist, and I can also cast Vivify while channeling it. And it's the same with Enveloping Mist. That's the next one here as well. Wraps the target in healing mists. Yeah, another mist, that's right. Healing them over 7 seconds and increasing healing received from your other spells by 40%. So Enveloping Mist then can help you ramp up your healing, so you can get loads of Enveloping Mists out, increasing the healing they receive from all of our other spells, and therefore we're doing more healing overall when they have Enveloping Mists on them. It also is going to apply Renewing Mists, which is this one here, to an ally within 40 yards. Okay, so we've got Renewing Mist, which we can cast as a heal over time on someone. We've got our Summon Jade Serpent statue, which is going to heal Soothing Mist when we cast it. While casting Soothing Mist, our Vivify and Enveloping Mists are instant. Enveloping Mist is going to increase the healing on people by 40% from our other healing spells, and Vivify is going to heal the target and all allies that have Renewing Mist. So Vivify, healing our ally again, and anyone with Renewing Mist. So remember, get your Renewing Mists out. Remember also that Enveloping Mist will also put Renewing Mists on there. So getting a lot of Enveloping Mists out when you're using your Soothing Mists will also get out Renewing Mists, and Vivify is going to heal the target and all allies with your Renewing Mist. Hopefully that is understandable. Hopefully you've understood what I've just said. It is a tad confusing. Basically, channel Soothing Mist. Don't let Renewing Mist cap. Vivify will heal anyone with Renewing Mist, and also your Enveloping Mist, which is also instant cast when channeling Soothing Mist, will also put Renewing Mists out. And remember, Vivify heals people with that Renewing Mist. Okay, I think we've got it. If you are struggling still after hearing all that, again, just join my Discord and we'll help you, or my Patreon, etc., or comment down below, and maybe another friendly viewer will help you. The next spell we've got here is Chi Burst. It's on a 30-second cooldown, hurling a torrent of Chi energy up to 40 yards forward, dealing nature damage to all enemies and healing to the monk and allies in its path. So you can basically just use this on cooldown and try and, like a bowling ball down an alley, try and aim it at your allies, obviously, especially maybe at the melee. If you're in rage, if they're clumped up in the melee, you could just bowl it down at them and it may hit, enemies as well. Woohoo. Now, I want to talk about something else, which is Mana Tea. And this is this talent here. For every 25,000 mana you spend, you're going to get a stack of this, and it's going to stack to 20. And what you can do is you can then consume stack of Mana Tea, consume 1 stack of Mana Tea per 0.4 seconds to restore mana, and reduce the mana cost of your spells by 30% per stack of Mana Tea consumed after drinking. Can be cast while moving, but movement speed is reduced by 40% while channeling. So basically, we've got 14 stacks of it here, and I could drink it, guzzle down all those stacks of tea, and again, we don't want to let that cap at 20. So that is going to reduce the mana cost of your spells. Now, why am I talking about it at this specific time? There's a reason, and that's because the next spell on the list is Invoke Yulon the Jade Serpent. If you are familiar with Disc Priests or Restoration Druids, then you will be familiar with Ramping. If you're not familiar with it, then I'll explain it now. Basically, what certain healers do, and Mistweaver monks do it to a lesser extent than druids and disc priests, in my opinion, but we still do it. We're going to summon an effigy of Yulon, the Jade Serpent. Yulon will heal injured allies with Soothing Breath, healing the target and up to 2 allies for a certain amount over 3 seconds. Enveloping Mist, that's this one that we use to spread our Renewing Mist, will cost 50% less mana while Yulon is active. So when Yulon is active, we want to kind of ramp up for him to come out and do all this extra healing. Before we do that then, the main thing we want to do is get out as many Renewing Mists as possible. So make sure we're using both stacks. As always, make sure you're never capping it at 2 anyway, but use both stacks of Renewing Mist. Make sure you haven't got any of those. And then you're going to want to get out some Enveloping Mists. Remember to be using Soothing Mist when you're doing it, so it's instant. Get that out on as many people as possible. Drink some Mana Tea so that you're reducing the mana cost. And what we can also do is use Shaylan's Gift. This is going to draw in all nearby clouds of mist, healing the friendly target and up to 2 nearby allies per cloud absorbed. A cloud of mist is generated every 8 seconds while in combat. So basically, well, we're not really in combat, but every 8 seconds, a cloud of mist is going to appear, and Shaylan's Gift is going to then absorb that and do healing. So because Yulon reduces the mana cost of Enveloping Mists, this is why we're ramping up partially. And remember, we're going to do this before huge raids-wide damage comes in. So basically, we want to get loads and loads of Enveloping Mists out. But of course, that costs a lot of mana. And therefore, using Yulon and using our Mana Tea is going to greatly reduce that mana cost, meaning we can whack out as many healing spells and heal over times as we can at a much lower mana cost. And that's why we're ramping up for Yulon to come out. So first of all, again, use your Renewing Mist charges, make sure they're all out, drink some Mana Tea, then use Shaylan's Gift to use those cloud healings. And the reason we're actually doing it on that, if you're thinking, well, that just does a heal and then doesn't really do anything. Wrong. There's actually Xiaohao's lessons. Each time you cast Shaylan's Gift, you learn one of Xiaolan's lessons for up to 30 seconds, with the duration based on how many clouds of mists are actually consumed. Doubt, your spells and abilities deal up to 40% more healing. Despair, your critical strike is increased by 30% while above 50% health. Fear, decreases your damage taken, increases your haste. And anger, 25% of the damage or healing you deal is duplicated. So basically, we're going to get our Renewing Mists out, we're going to reduce the mana cost of our abilities, we're then going to use Shaylan's Gift, absorbing all of the clouds we have, and therefore getting a lesson from one of the ones I just mentioned, and then we're going to invoke Yulon the Jade Serpent, reducing our mana cost of Enveloping Mists massively, and then we can use our Soothing Mist, and then we can start firing out our Enveloping Mists on loads of people, because our haste could be increased, we could be duplicating healing, from Shaylan's lessons. Our mana cost is reduced because of Yulon and because of our Mana Tea, and then we can just, like a machine gun, just firing out those heals at a much greater efficiency because of the lessons from Shaylan's Gift and also the reduced mana cost from the Mana Tea and Yulon. And then you've ramped up, massive damage is incoming, and then we're going to use Soothing Mist on whoever with our Jade Serpent statue out, and then we can use Vivify on our Soothing Mist target. And because everyone's going to have Renewing Mists on them, because we've put loads of Enveloping Mists out, which remember puts Renewing Mist on them, when we then use our instant Vivify with Soothing Mist, that's going to be healing everyone that has Renewing Mists on them, which has been triggered for Enveloping Mist, which Yulon has made cheaper, the Mana Tea's made cheaper, and Shaylan's Gift has made better. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a really fun spec. It's not as much of an in-depth ramp as some other healers. And here are the clouds that you can see floating around here. This spell is Life Cocoon. It's a cooldown, and you can encase the target in a cocoon of chi energy, absorbing damage and increasing all healing over time received by them, and applying, you guessed it, renewing and enveloping mist to the target. And this is a really beautiful cooldown, as you can see here, and it's really, really fun. I love kind of like class fantasy skills like this. I really do. This is what makes World of Warcraft for me. So you can use that obviously as a cooldown when needed. Another one here is Thunder Focus Tea. Receive a jolt of energy empowering an next spell cast. Enveloping Mist immediately will heal and is instant cast. Renewing Mist, the duration's increased. Vivify here, no mana cost. Rising Sun Kick, this last one here, is cooldown's going to be reduced. Essence Font, which I haven't spoken about yet, is going to channel 100% faster, and Expel Harm is going to transfer 25% of additional healing into damage and creates a chi cocoon absorbing damage. So let me move this up here. Here's my Essence Font. unleashes a rapid twirl of healing bolts at up to 5 allies within 30 yards every 1.1 seconds for 2.7 seconds. Each bolt heals a target, plus an additional amount. Gusts of Mists will heal affected targets twice, cast while moving. Basically, it's on a 12-second cooldown. You can use it pretty much on cooldown or when you're on the move, and it just fires out some heals. Don't forget about your revival cooldown I mentioned earlier, healing all party and raid members and clearing them of all harmful effects like magic, poison, and disease. And then we also have this spell here, Expel Harm. This one is interesting as well. It's on a 15-second cooldown. Expel negative chi from your body, healing for X amount and dealing 25% of the amount healed as nature damage to an enemy. Now, dealing damage is actually also something you want to do, and you can do this with Expel Harm and or also Rising Sun Kick. It's actually quite interesting why we do this. When we do damage to an enemy, they're actually going to get this debuff on them, Mystic Touch. Physical damage taken increased by 5%, meaning we can actually, as a healer, help do more damage to the boss indirectly through our allies through the Mystic Touch debuff. And this is on the target whenever we do melee damage or any damage to anyone. So we can do that with Expel Harm and also Rising Sun Kick. We also want to use Rising Sun Kick on cooldown because it actually does something really interesting. Yes, of course it does damage, but it's actually also going to apply Renewing Mists for 6 seconds to an ally within 40 yards, meaning we can get another Renewing Mists out. So you could technically say it's not 2 charges, it's 3 when we include our Rising Sun Kick. So that's going to get another Renewing Mists out on someone. And that is pretty much it for single target, or, well, raid healing, should I say, not single target. I'm thinking like a DPS. Just to go over it all again really quickly then, we've got Renewing Mists. Don't let it cap out at 2 charges. It will heal another person if the person you end up healing is at max health. Keep your statue out, because whenever you use Soothing Mist, that will also actually heal. Remember that when we're casting Soothing Mist, both our Enveloping Mist and Vivify are instant. Vivify is going to heal anyone with Renewing Mists on them. Enveloping Mists is actually going to apply Renewing Mists to the target. Chi Burst is going to do damage and healing in a path. We can ramp up for Yulon, which is going to reduce the mana cost of our Enveloping Mists. We can drink Mana Tea to reduce the mana cost before ramping up, and then use Shaylan's Gift to get the Teachings buff from that talent I showed you. And then we can use Yulon and get loads of Enveloping Mists out, and therefore Renewing Mist. Of course, using Soothing Mist while we do that to make it instant. We can also use our Thunder Focus Tea as a short cooldown to enhance our abilities. We can use Rising Sun Kick on cooldown to get Renewing Mists out. And we can use Expel Harm to do damage and a bit of healing as well. And of course, Revival, our big healing cooldown. Lastly, there's Essence Font, which you can use on the move to do some healing. And also Life Cocoon, which you can use to make an Absorb shield on someone. And apply Renewing Mist and Enveloping Mist to the target. A few other talents I want to make you aware of. Celestial Harmony, while active, Yulon and Shiji. We're using Yulon, by the way. If you see Shiji, basically that's the other one you could have chosen, but haven't. So when Yulon is active, Yulon heal up to 5 nearby targets with Enveloping Breath when you cast Enveloping Mist, healing for an amount over 7 seconds and increasing the healing they receive from you by 10%. So Yulon is also going to increase the healing you do, and he's going to help you get out those heals too. When activated, Yulon and Shiji are also going to apply Chi Cocoons to 5 targets in 40 yards. So that's also going to imply those. So Yulon is like the super duper healing daddy. One other here to make you aware of is Clouded Focus. Healing of Enveloping Mists or Vivify while channeling your Soothing Mists increases their healing done by 15% and reduces their mana cost. This is kind of already worked into what I've told you, but I think it's useful to know. And Rising Mist here. Rising Sun Kick heals all allies of your Renewing Mist, Enveloping Mist, or Essence Font for a small amount and extends those effects by 4 seconds up to 100% the original duration. So using Rising Sun Kick will also actually extend the duration of your heals on other people as well, making that even more important to use. As I said in the talents bit earlier, there's obviously a lot more talents to go through. Once you're more comfortable with the spec, I would advise that you do look through all of the individual ones and see how they work together. But these are the core important ones that I think build the foundation of the spec that as a beginner, you should be aware of. If we move now into the Phaline build for Mythic Plus, you can see it's quite different on the talent choices, but don't worry too much. So basically then, starting off, use your Renewing Mist. Oh, God, I lost my voice then. Use your Renewing Mist on cooldown, like we've spoken about in raiding. If 2 or more targets are injured, we should use our Shaylan's gift, same as before, but it's kind of a lot higher on the priority. We now have something called Zen Pulse. Trigger a Zen Pulse around an ally, dealing damage to all enemies within 8 yards, and the ally is healed per enemy damaged. You can see there it lets out a pulse. A Zen Pulse triggers a second time at 80% effectiveness if cast on targets with enveloping mist. That's the yellow one again. Then we've got one of my favourite abilities, Jade Fire Stomp. Strike the ground to fiercely expose a path of Jade for 30 seconds, dealing nature damage to up to 5 enemies and restoring health to up to 5 allies within 30 yards caught in the path. Up to 5 allies caught in the path are healed with an Essence Font Bolt. Your abilities have a 6% chance of resetting the cooldown while fighting within the path. So obviously try and line this up and aim it so that it's hitting as many allies and enemies if possible as possible. And when we use it, you can see here it's this stunning Jade Fire Fey line. It used to look quite different. They've changed it recently. But still absolutely stunning. So you want to kind of aim that up so that it's actually going to where people kind of are, so that you can heal as many people as possible with it. We then have Essence Font, unleashing again a rapid twirl of healing. It is quite mana intensive, Essence Font. That's the only thing to mention. And remember that allies caught in the path of your Jade Fire Stomp are actually also going to be healed with an Essence Font Bolt. What you'll notice is that Jade Fire Stomp is 10,000 mana, whereas Essence Font is 18,000 mana. So Jade Fire Stomp is still going to put some Essence Font Bolts out. However, this one is only twice the amount of mana. So just be aware of that if you're doing higher keys and, you know, you're finding that you are getting a bit mana deprived. Still, though, using Essence Font is, you know, quite mandatory. I'm not saying don't use it. We have a talent here, Ancient Teachings, that we've swapped over to. After casting Essence Font or Phalanx Stomp, your Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Rising Sun Kick, the main one is Rising Sun Kick here we're using, it's going to heal up to 5 injured allies within 40 yards for 150% of the damage done, split evenly among them. While Ancient Teachings is active, your stamina is increased by 5%. So we want to use these to keep that buff up anyway. You can also use your Blackout Kick, of course, as I've got here. And then your Mana Tea, as usual. And then you've got your Thunder Focus Tea as well, which you can use depending on the situation, as you can see on the tooltip here that we've already discussed. But that is really it. Of course, still using your Soothing Mist, etc. Using your Renewing Mist and use your Vivify. That's the one that isn't actually on this bar we spoke about earlier. The one that's an instant when you're using your Soothing Mists. You know, the other one apart from Enveloping Mist, that's that one. Yes, it's not a lot different. You're just changing around a few of the priorities to more fit a 5-man group than a raid. Like, you're not going to be doing those huge Yulon ramp-ups in Mythic Plus, because you're not trying to get out loads of Enveloping Mists on 20 million different people, or I guess just 20. You know, so there's a lot less people. You don't really need to do that as much. And one thing I should note is that actually on that topic, we are taking Shiji, the Red Crane, not Yulon. Summon an effigy of Shiji for 12 seconds that kicks up a gust of mist when you Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick or Spinning Crane Kick, healing up to 2 allies and reducing the cost and cast time of your next Enveloping Mist by 33%, stacking. Shiji's presence makes you immune to movement impairing effects as well. And that's it, guys. You now know how to play Mistweaver Monk in Season 4 of Dragonflight for patches 10.2.6, 10.2.7, and beyond. If you are looking for other specs, whether it be Monk or others, then check out this playlist here. I've done all of them in Season 4. I actually only started doing content creation in Season 3, which is crazy how much we've grown since then. But I am actually committed. I'm doing every single spec for PvE, PvP, and also dungeon guides, etc. for you in Season 4, making sure that, you know, whatever you need, I've done it. So do check those out if you are interested in any others. And by the way, don't forget what I said earlier about Patreon and Discord. I'm really here to help should you need it on Patreon, etc. And in the Discord as well, we really do have a great community that are, you know, really here for new people. I know that WoW is a very intense game, especially when you're new, and I want to make sure that we offer a really welcoming community where you can get any of the help you do need. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're enjoying Mistweaver, etc., it's definitely a really interesting healer. And good luck.